And this is now the 8:30 High Beam this morning. I'm Brad Shoup, your host, and with us we have Kevin Miller. Kevin is from Habitat for Humanity, East Central Ohio. He is the Director of Communications. So, Kevin, welcome in. We appreciate you taking your time for us this morning and being with us today. How are you?
I'm great, Brad. Thanks so much to you for inviting us in. It's always great to speak with you and share the story of Habitat.
Well, we love to hear what's going on for sure. So with that in mind, it seems like it's been a busy time as far as we're talking about the housing now. So can you tell us what's been transpiring and how many families maybe are waiting and in the process of maybe getting a home?
Sure. Everywhere you look these days, you can kind of see an article about how difficult it is to afford decent housing. Really, it's not just a local problem. It's all across the country. Housing is just becoming sort of this unreachable dream for too many families. And so Habitat for Humanity partners with low to moderate income families who are hardworking, oftentimes families who are working 2 jobs or more to make ends meet, but just can't quite get to that space where they can afford a home with a conventional mortgage. And there are a whole bunch of reasons for that, why that they might be stuck in sort of that loop of not being able to get to home ownership or even a cycle of poverty that keeps people trapped. And so we've seen over the last, I'd say pandemic time and onward, we've seen a dramatic increase in the number of housing applications that have come through our doors. And I would say to the tune last year, fiscal year, increased by over 150% the number of applications we were receiving for families who needed a good place to call home. And if you think about it, it all makes sense because everybody was sheltering in place. Do you remember that? And so everybody's at home and they realize that, perhaps their home isn't meeting their needs, that it's unsafe, that it's actually making their family unhealthy. And there are a lot of ways that happens, whether it's structural or mold issues or even not being able to afford it and having to make trade-offs for things like, do I buy medicine this month or do I pay my rent?
Yeah.
What do I choose? Do I fix my car so I can get to work or do I buy my children food? And so really having to make these trade-offs has been just absolutely killing some families in our local community. And so to your point, we have a lot of families who applied recently, who are waiting, who are working their way through our program, which for families takes about 18 months or more to make their way through sweat equity and the homeowner education courses and building their homes and the homes of others. And so many families are waiting, not just in Tuscarawas County, but across all of East Central Ohio, in Stark and Carroll, Harrison and Jefferson counties as well. And so really, I'm putting a call out there now to all of your listeners who may know of some places where we could build homes, land that's available, or homes that could be rehabilitated so that families could get into decent, affordable homes and start changing this cycle. So if anyone knows of some Tuscarawas County land, I know of a builder that may want to get out on that lot and start building a home that will make a difference for generations. And there are a lot of ways we can acquire that land, whether it's a donation or whether it is, a purchase that works for everybody involved. If there's a property that needs to be removed to make green space to build, we can talk about that as well. So we're just open to anything because, like we started here, the need is just exponentially greater than we've seen in our nearly 35 years of existence as Habitat.
If you could address a couple of things real quickly. First of all, this is not people build a home and somebody gets it free, right?
Oh, correct. Thank you for bringing that up. This is one of those things that I try and squash down every time it comes up because it's really important to us that people understand Habitat homes are not free gifts for the families who live in them. It's an investment that they make. They're purchasing their home at the end of their sweat equity and their partnership with Habitat. They're purchasing that home with 0% interest. And I don't know how many listeners out there have a 0% interest mortgage, but it can be life-changing, you know. I talked a moment ago about affordability, and imagine when you can afford a home and that zero interest helps keep that payment affordable. When you can afford that, you can afford better health care. You can afford higher education. You can afford the emergencies of life and covering those without decimating your finances in the background. A good home really is the foundation for all of these other tentacles of life as they go out into the community. So, 0% interest, not free gifts. Really appreciate you reminding me to say that.
No problem. The other thing I wanted to say is we talked last time that you were looking for some land, et cetera, in Tuscarawas County, and there was some success.
Yeah, we got phone calls and we're able to start some conversations about what that can look like, and we need more of that. We have families applying from Tuscarawas County constantly, just like everywhere else. The need isn't just everywhere outside of Tuscarawas County. It's right there, too, and we want to do everything we can. So that's why I'm mentioning it again, because it helps us. It helps families who are in the process, and we want to keep that conversation going because it means so much.
This is Kevin Miller, Director of Communication for Habitat for Humanity East Central Ohio. One thing you have is a Restore location. So if you could remind us about that a little bit and then move into Hope Restored, what that is and how that works.
Do you get the play on words there? We've got Habitat Restore with a program called Hope Restored. So Habitat Restore is our nonprofit thrift store and donation center. It's located on the southwest side of Canton, just a really quick drive up 77 from where you are. And it's about 37,000 square feet of home goods and building materials where people donate stuff they no longer need. The public comes and shops for those items. And all of those proceeds go right back into building homes with Habitat for Humanity families. There's a little bit of restore money in every home that we build and renovate, every project that we do. It's how we make up the gap funding, for every project we do. So very important. But in the last couple of years, we've started a program called Hope Restored. And this is a program where families and children who are coming out of situations, for example, like domestic violence or homelessness, coming out of these situations can get free vouchers to come and shop for home goods that they need at Restore. And the way this works is we've developed partnerships with local organizations that send their clients as they're coming out of some of these terrible situations, but getting into some better housing, safe housing. And, we don't think about it all the time. Maybe we take it for granted, but a table is very important. And you only really notice how important a table is when you don't have one, or a bed for your children. And so when families are in these situations and they're just stuck and they don't have these items, it just changes the course of their entire life and well-being. And so Hope Restored was founded in the hopes that we could let families come in and shop at Restore with dignity, even when they have no resources to do that shopping and get the items they need. So I say all of that because one way that your listeners can support programs like Hope Restored and Habitat Restore in general is by sending your donations of unwanted home goods, building materials, appliances, furniture, all of the things that kind of go in and make your home. If you send those to Restore, not only do they help build homes, but they help families who are trying to build their home, figuratively speaking. And so these vouchers are everything to these families, and that dignity is very important to us, that dignity of shopping for the thing that you want and knowing that it's going to meet the needs of your family when you're right in the middle of a crisis or coming out of one. So very important program for us.
Yeah, it sure is. You and I talked a little bit about churches and faith organizations that have been able to help. If you are interested in helping solo or with some kind of a group or with your church or your church group, I'm sure those opportunities are prevalent. And how would someone reach out to try to make connections there?
Yeah, let's give all the. We like to wrap up with all the contact information, don't we? So let me do that for the listeners here. So Habitat for Humanity in general, if you want to volunteer, whether that's like you were saying, your individual self, your community group, your church group, visit habitateco.org or call 330-915-5888. And you can make donations that way. You can volunteer that way. You can connect and ask your questions about home ownership, about donating land in Tuscarawas County, or just giving us a clue about some land in Tuscarawas County. On the resource side of things, if you want to donate your stuff, we do offer free pickup for people who want to donate larger items from their homes. You can visit restoreeco.org habitat4humanity.org or call 330-915-5920. And you can even schedule that pickup online on that website. So it all makes a difference. It all comes together. We call it this big cycle of Habitat for Humanity, and it's a beautiful thing. And being a part of it in any way, whatever your listeners want to engage, is going to be meaningful for them and meaningful certainly for the community right here in Tuscarawas County, all of East Central Ohio. And it's a powerful thing, man.
It is, and well said, Kevin. So we're so grateful that you can be with us, and do hope that you'll join us again in a little bit of time, because I know things are so fluid and ongoing that we always have a lot to talk about.
We sure do, and I love to talk, so that would be great.
There's no problem with that. So, hey, we thank you for joining us today, and have yourself a great day and great weekend, all right?
You as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you. That is Kevin Miller, who's the Director of Communication for Habitat for Humanity East Central Ohio. Our guest this morning on the 8:30 High Beam here on the VT Morning Show.